everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
Y'all been asking about this one, babes. Part one of my story time on my ex that cheated on me. We had gotten married after a month. Yes, your girl was married in my very early 20s, and the insane trajectory of that relationship, the ups and downs, and all the things that went into it. So buckle up. This is going to be a multi-part series. It is a wild one. Okay, so the scene is I just turned 21. I had been living in LA for a short amount of time, moving from New York, and I was just really starting to get into the LA scene, going out, dating, meeting celebrities, adjusting to the lifestyle that is LA, which is similar to New York, but also the opposite, if that makes sense. A lot of people know that New York and LA, the two biggest hubs for the entertainment industry, but New York is very fast paced. People are very real. It's incredibly go, go, go. Whereas LA is a little bit more relaxed. People aren't so forthcoming, but this is the hub of the entertainment industry. And I had moved here to further my modeling career, to do some acting as well, and just for a little change of pace, because I was sick of the New York weather and I was already getting more opportunities in LA. I'm living at Hollywood at the time, and this was during the best years of the Abbey. If you don't know what the Abbey is, it is known as the greatest gay bar in America, and it was at the time. It was one of those places where all the go-go dancers were really hot and straight. It was a place that was safe for gays and girls, and I understand that a lot of gay people did not love the girls in that space, which I definitely respect. But at the time, there were a lot of girls that were going into the space. And of course, that attracted a lot of straight men that were coming there with their gay friends to pick up chicks. And that was kind of the vibe. I was there with a couple of my gay friends one night. We're dancing. I probably have like a fucking bump it, you know, in my hair, wearing some low cut, sparkly dress number from like Bebe and some strappy ass heels. And me and my gays are twirling on the dance floor. And I see this guy out of the corner of my eye looking at me. And I'm like, ooh, he's pretty cute, you know, but couldn't tell, like, is he gay, is he straight? And my friends are like, I'm pretty sure he's straight. The way that the Abbey is set up is there's an indoor area where the dance floor is, which has a surrounding, like, 2 bars on the outside. And then on the outside bar, there's like a little area with seats and stuff where people can hang out. And it's an unofficial dance floor. And that's kind of like where I was always hanging out with my friends. We're out there kicking it up, dancing to some Kesha. Or the dude just kind of looks at me and he goes like, this, and I'm like, oh, he's definitely straight. I walk up. We're gonna call him Miguel. Miguel was absolutely gorgeous. Dark hair, green eyes. He had a very slight, undiscernible accent. I'm like, where is this man from? And he tells me that he's from Greece, that he's been living in LA for most of his life, so his accent is very subdued. He's flirting with me, but also being a little bit distant, and he's there with a couple of people that were twice his age. It's kind of like, why are you hanging out with these people twice your age, and you're at a gay bar? Like, very strange. There was this girl that was like twice his age that was kind of hanging on him. He pulls me aside later and he's like, hey, I'm actually on a date with this woman. I'm like, you got mommy issues? Because that woman is a lot older than you. Like, you do you, boo, but why are you trying to talk to me while you're on the date with this woman? And he's like, look, this is our first date, but I'm really attracted to you. Can I give you my number? I was like, you know what? I'll give you my number. And if you decide to contact me, great. But you probably shouldn't be trolling when you're on a date, you know? After that, Miguel and I start seeing each other a little bit casually. We'd gone on a couple coffee dates and we would go to the Grove all the time because there was a Greek restaurant at the time at the Grove where all the people had gone and it was really cute. It was indoor, outdoor, and you would kind of sit there and drink. And it was just like a really nice, fun cultural vibe. And really thought he was really cute, but there was always something a little bit insidious about him that just kind of felt like I needed to be a little bit set apart from him. He had moved to LA to become an actor, was very guarded about his past and the things that he wanted to talk about. Every time I would bring up his family or anything, he would just immediately change the subject and be like, anyway, so, and try to direct it back to me. So I'm like, okay, you have some sort of trauma or like, what's going on with you, sir? And we'd been seeing each other for maybe a few weeks then. And I had been in New York for work, for a shoot. And then I'd come back and he was like, hey, are you back? I would love to take you on another date. I'm like, okay, well, today I'm going to go wash my car to run some errands. He was like, oh, well, maybe we should do like a cute errand date. We can go, like, I'll wash your car for you. I'll take you to lunch and we can like do a little shopping and stuff. I'm like, an errand date? That's kind of cute. Sure. So he comes to my place. He gets in my little jalopy Civic that I had at the time. And we go to one of those self-washing stations. He's washing my car. We're like drinking out of a flask, laughing. It's a good time. He looks at me and he's like, how come you haven't slept with me yet? I'm like, wow, subject change. Okay, while you're over here like rub-a-dub-dubbing my car. And he's like, yeah, you know, every time I try to get like intimate with you, you kind of pull away. Dude, it's only been a couple weeks. How quickly are you getting women into bed? Which I have been also guilty of doing that faster, but I just, like I said, there was something sinister that I wasn't feeling. And I'm like, bold of you to go ahead and just bring that up. But I mean, you need to let me go on my own time. He's like, well, I've never had a girl not sleep with me so quickly. I'm like, well, welcome to a change of pace, my guy, because this just sent me further away from your knickers. It really gave me the ick after that. Like, he took me to go have lunch, and then we ran some errands, and then he dropped me off at home and was like trying so hard to come into my house. I was like, no, dude, we all see what your vibe is. We see your end game. Like, get the hell out of here. You don't talk for maybe like a week. He's not really contacting me, and I'm kind of doing my own thing, working, seeing friends, going out, going to auditions, dating other guys. Then he hits me up randomly. He's like, hey, I'm gonna be going to Abbey tonight with some friends. Would you want to meet up? And I was actually already going to the Abbey, and I'm like, okay, you're going to go troll for more straight girls. I'm actually already going to be with some friends. I was like, yeah, we can meet up for a drink. Like, if we see each other, cool. I put on my best Forever 21 skirt, pop shop top, probably teased my hair to the sky, and made really sure that I had that face beat on. We get to the Abbey with my friends. They're there hanging out, and I eventually do see Miguel. He's there with some friends, some actually like young, hot Greek guy friends. And he's like, hey, these are the guys on my soccer team. I'm like, you're on a soccer team? He's like, oh yeah, we play in this Greek soccer league that is just for fun and recreational. These are my guys. Bunch of dudes with him, all very nice, but there is this one guy that's there that has a mohawk, a blonde mohawk. I was like, wow, he's pretty cute. And he was super jacked, right? I was kind of in a headspace that night where I wasn't really looking for guys. I was just kind of with my friends, dancing and being with my gays. But he was like staring at me. Miguel is annoying me. He's just being really extra and thirsty, and I am not about it. So I'm kind of avoiding him, dancing. And at some point my feet hurt. I'm in those little, peep toe pumps that we be wearing in those days, which are really cute again now. And I'm like, I need to have a seat. So they have a little table, the Greeks do. So I sit down and I'm talking to one of the Greek guys. I look behind him and I see the Mohawk guy just smiling at me. And I'm looking at him and I'm really like a little bit tipsy haze. Through my tipsy haze, I'm realizing like, wow, that guy's actually really cute. I was like, what's your name? I like you, with the Mohawk. And this man shoves his friend out of the way like a flimsy screen door and just saddles right up to me. Kneels on the ground next to me because I'm sitting. And he was like, what'd you say? And I was like, nothing. And he has a super heavy accent. I'm like, nothing. And he's like, you said something about me. I'm like, I just said that you were cute. And he was like, well, you're gorgeous. And we start chatting, and he ends up being very cool, very sweet. And he's like, oh, what's going on with you and Miguel? I was like, oh, we've been on a couple dates and stuff, but we're not really dating. I was like, are you friends with him? And he's like, we're just on a soccer team together. I'm like, oh, okay. We spend the whole night talking and dancing and having a good time, drinking LA waters. If you know what that is, you know that shit gets you fucked up. And at the end of the night, he's like, can I have your number? I'm like, but you're Miguel's friend. And he's like, he's not really my friend. We're just playing on the same team together. And I'm like, fuck it, okay. As soon as I get home, he texts me and he says, you are the most beautiful and coolest girl that I've ever met in LA. And then I text him back joking. I'm like, oh, only in LA? And he was like, yeah, but LA has the most beautiful women. So that's actually what I mean. I'm like, I'm just joking, dude. And I was going out of town the next day to San Francisco for work. And so I didn't text him, but he had started texting me during the week and was trying to see me and hang out. But I was busy and doing different things. So I finally got to him maybe like a week later. And he was like, I want to take you to dinner. Cool, like, you can take me to dinner. But then I ended up having to cancel that night because I had forgotten that I had a friend's birthday that I had to go to. And he was like, okay, well, after your friend's birthday, I'm going to a house party in Beverly Hills at this mansion. Do you want to come? I'm like, you know what? I'll text you when I'm leaving my friend's party and we can see like what I'm doing and I'll let you know if I feel like going with you. So I went to my friend's dinner party. It was at Jones in Hollywood near Target, which is like this old Hollywood place. I used to see like random celebrities there. I saw like Chris Evans there one time and Tom Cruise. It's also been in a few movies, but it's kind of a darker Italian place. Really, really good Thai a la mode if you ever go there, and really good rigatoni pasta. After that, I was feeling like, okay, what are we doing? And everyone's like, oh, we're going home, we're going home. I'm like, oh, let me hit up this Greek guy. I hit up the Greek guy. He immediately texts me back and he's like, where are you? I'm at Jones in Hollywood. And he's like, okay, I'm coming to pick you up. Okay, daddy. He rolls up in a Mercedes SUV, pops out the car. There's like 3 people in the car with him, some of his friends. He opens the door for me, like lifts me into the car, and he's like, all right, let's go to this mansion party. We go to this party. It's in the hills. It is one of those parties that the back opens and it's got an infinity pool and it just looks over the hills. I mean, it was gorgeous. So many people. There was like a skateboard ramp inside and a tennis court. People were just sitting on the floor, sitting everywhere, dancing. It was a whole thing. He brings me over to the bar. He makes me a vodka martini and he brings me over to the side of the pool and he like sits me down, takes my shoes off for me. And he's like, put your feet in the water. I put my feet in the water and he puts his feet in the water. He rolls up his pants and we're kind of sitting there dangling our feet in the water, just like chatting. And he starts telling me about his story and how he had been living in LA for a year now, but he had left Greece because there was some drama that happened with him, which I will get to. But he couldn't go back to Greece at the moment, so he's been in LA for about a year, and he is originally from Thessaloniki in Greece, and all his family and friends are still there. And he came to LA because he always wanted to live here in Hollywood. And he lives with his cousin. We're gonna call her Maisie. He lives with his cousin Maisie, and we're gonna call him Taki. So Taki, the man with the mohawk, the blonde mohawk, the one that is currently wooing me in his heavy-ass Greek accent. He lives with his cousin, Maisie, in a super high-rise in Hollywood. And he's like, I really want you to meet her. I think that you guys would really like each other. He was trying to gun at me and obsess over me very quickly. Like, after that hangout at the mansion, we spent every day together for the next 2 weeks. And he was definitely love bombing me. He would come pick me up, take me to Equinox with him to go work out. He would take me to go lunch, usually like sushi or ramen or like some nice place. In the evenings, we would go get drinks. We would go by the Greek restaurant, and then we would go out sometimes to the Abbey with my friends, or sometimes to a party in the hills or Hollywood. He's really integrating me in his life. Eventually, he takes me to his place, like I want to say that same week, to his house that he lives with Maisie. Maisie is super cute, his cousin, very outgoing and a little bit intense smoker girl that also rides motorcycles. They have like multiple nice cars. Mercedes, the box one, they've got like 2 Harley bikes, the Mercedes convertible, and a BMW, and a random Dodge Ram truck because Taki loved Dodge Ram trucks. He was like, it's very American. Immediately I see that they've got money. It's a little unclear how they have money because I go over there, they always got party favors, drinks. It's constantly a party at their place. Designer goods, Louis Vuitton throws on the couch, really nice furniture. They both wear really nice clothes. Taki has an intense watch collection. He's got Gucci watches, Cartier, Rolex. He had like 40 different types of watches. Very designer laden belts, very designer laden shoes. I was like, okay, these Greeks love their designer wear apparently. I don't really know what they do. And I asked Taki, I'm like, yeah, so what were you doing in Greece? He's like, oh, I was working in restaurants and businesses and different things. And like, and what does Maisie do? He's like, oh, she just has money from her family. I'm like, oh, okay. But they were very generous. And one day where I was like, I want to get my hair done. And Taki was like, what do you want to do to it? And I was like, I want to get highlights. And he's like, great, book it and then I'll pay for it. This man was really paying for all my shit, taking me everywhere. He always wanted me with him. I was really falling for this guy. He was obsessive and sweet and romantic, and he would write me very sweet notes, leave them in my bags. He would take me shopping. I was living that princess treatment lifestyle. By the way, he wasn't much older than me. He was like 5 years older than me. So I was 21. He was like 26. He just really seemed so adult and had his shit together. I'd not been around a lot of men that had radiated such like masculine provider energy. Someone that was close to my age. So it was very attractive to me. At this point, I'm getting very well acquainted with their group of friends. They always had like so many people at their place just hanging out. There was a girl, let's call her Destiny. She was always hanging around. She was cute. She was a sweet girl. There was something a little bit off about her. She always kind of was staring at me in a very suspect way. I could just tell that she had a crush on Taki. And I was like, what is up with that girl? And he's like, oh, she's just like a good friend of ours. And he's like, yeah, she used to be a mattress actress, actually. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, is she still doing that? And he's like, yeah, some here and there. I'm like, oh, all right. He's like, actually something I want to talk to you about. I tried to renew my visa and I can't renew it again. Probably going to have to figure out something, go back to Greece, which is not really an option for me. So Destiny has offered to help me with my documents so that I can stay in the country. I'm like, wait, like documents that link you together forever? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, that seems like a bad idea. And he's like, well, I don't really have a choice because these are my options. And he was like, I'll just compensate her for it and then that'll be it and I won't have to worry about it. I'm like, I hate this idea. So throughout that week though, it was very obvious that Destiny was kind of acting a little possessive over him. And I was like, did something happen between the two of you? And he's like, oh, why? He's like, we're just friends. I'm like, because she's acting very jealous and a little bit possessive of you. So then one day after the bar, feeling a little bit more loose-lipped, he tells me that yes, they did date and that they did hook up. She was a little bit obsessed with him. And I'm like, okay, well, you're with me though, and you want her to help you with your situation, which is going to make her even more obsessed with you and link you guys for a long time. That seems like a bad idea. Cut to, I see her in the other room eavesdropping because, oh yes, right, she lives in one of the rooms in their big ass condo house. So him and I would go to sleep. And the next day, because I had a bunch of stuff over there, because I was staying over there all the time, I had a luggage of stuff that was in the hallway. The next day I go in the hallway to get something out of my bag, And I look through and I just smell something absolutely rancid. I pull up my hand, and to my horror, it is dog shit in my bag, on all my stuff, in my hand. I scream. I'm like, oh my God. Now, the only dog in that house was Destiny's dog, who was not very well behaved, but my suitcase was zipped closed. I don't think this dog zipped that thing open, took a shit in there, and then zipped it closed. So I scream for Taki. He comes over. I'm like, dude, that girl put her dog shit in my bag. He's like, what? So he gets her over. He's like yelling at her, and she's screaming and crying, saying that I don't belong there in that house, that she actually loves him, and that she would do anything for him, and that I'm not the right person for him. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, you need to relax. And then she starts trying to like run over and fight me, being like, you don't deserve him, da 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 da. I'm like, girl, you let your dog shit in my bag? Are you kidding me? So I take all my stuff, and I just take all the clothes that have dog shit, and I just hurl them on her bed. I'm like, there you go, girl, have at it. My stuff is roomed, and now so is your damn bed. I walk out, I'm mad. I'm like, I'm going home. Takis is like, no, I'll take you home. I'm like, fine. In the car on the way home, he's like, I'm really sorry. I don't know what got over her. I'm like, I do. This is a bad idea. You can't do this arrangement with her. I'm emotional. And he's like, look, if I don't do it, I'm gonna have to go back. Like, this is my only option. I was like, okay, well, we're in love. Let me just help you out. And this is 3 weeks in, y'all. Do not make decisions on an emotional high when you're young and in love. You need to think things through. Now, I know a lot of you are going to come for me being like, how could you do this, Kat? How could you do this? I was 21. I was in love and clearly needed a lobotomy. Okay. Live and learn, y'all. I'm like, yeah, I'll help you out. Obviously, we're together and we won't let it affect our relationship. It'll be on paper, but we are still together, and then whatever happens, happens. But like, I can't have you leaving the country. Like, we fell in love. He's like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to put you in this position. Cut to, we're in Vegas. Do not do as I do, okay? We had decided that we are going to get hitched, and we have to go through all the paperwork processes and figure out how the hell we're going to do it. So we were thinking, like, do we want to just go to the JP? Do we want to have a party with our friends? And then one day, his cousin, Maisie, the one that he lived with and had a mysterious amount of money, during that week, she basically says, like, hey, I'm going to my boyfriend's house. Do you guys want to come by and say hello? And I'm like, I didn't even know this girl had a boyfriend. And Takis is like, okay, so real talk, she has like a situation with this man. It is a very big Hollywood actor. Like, when you get there, you're going to see some things. I'm just letting you know. And if you get uncomfortable at any point, we can leave immediately. I'm like, okay. We drive over to Mulholland Hills in Beverly Hills, and it is within 2 gates. So there's 1 gate going to Mulholland Hills. There was a 2nd gate to get into this Hollywood actor's huge ass property. We walk in, and it is a full-blown party inside. They were doing extracurricular activities that you only see in a DARE pamphlet. You know what I'm saying? I was shooketh. I had seen a lot of things in my days at that point. Remember my Tijuana story from when I was a teenager? But this was another level, because this was people with money in Hollywood with the resources, and this was an older Hollywood actor that was very known for this lifestyle. So we get there, Maisie is there, she's super excited to see us, and she introduces us to the actor. He was wearing an open Tommy Bahama shirt and no undergarments. I was like, wow, hello, sir. Nice to meet you. And everyone was wearing these weird bird masks. It was very much giving Rich Timu Eyes Wide Shut vibes. Lights were all very low, and there were just all these crazy lights going on everywhere. In the middle of this insane house was a huge aquarium with sharks in it. I am not joking, y'all. I know I have insane stories. It's because I have lived an insane life, because many things happen to me. I don't know. I just attract that attention and just inject myself into these scenarios, because you know what? We do everything for the lore. But this man had actual sharks. Now, granted, they were small sharks in a round aquarium in the middle of his foyer. There was a private chef, there was a bunch of butlers walking around with party favors, and it was him and a bunch of older dudes and their young girlfriends. We hang out for a little bit. We do not partake in the activities because it was a little heinous and insidious. And we just kind of say hello, we meet around, and then we were like, we got to get out of here because this is a little bit too dingy for us. So we leave, and I was like, do we need to take her with us? Is she okay? And Takis was like, I promise you she's totally fine. I'm like, okay. Oh, and also Destiny was there. Yes, the one that put dog shit in my bag. She was also there. Surprise, surprise, as one of the young girlfriends. I was like, oh my God, okay, we got to get out of here. We're leaving, and the old Hollywood actor is like, hey, do you guys want to take some goodies with you? And I was like, absolutely not. Even though you're super rich, I do not trust anything you're trying to give me. So we left, and we went and saw a movie. We went to the Grove and saw a movie, and I need to scrub that experience out of my brain, because I was witness to some things that you just can't unsee. Cut to one night we're at the Abbey and we're having a good time and partying. This was probably a couple days after that incident happened. And Maisie pulls me aside and she's like, hey, so old Hollywood actor really, really liked you guys and thought you were a really cute couple. And I told him about how you guys need to get married. And he suggested that we go to Vegas and that we take his private jet. I'm like, pardon my fucking pardon? And Takis is like, hell yeah. He's like so down to clown. I'm like, I'm confused. This man that met us once said that we can take his private jet to Vegas. And she was like, yeah, and he'll pay for everything. He'll get us a suite at the Wynn and just make sure that everything is taken care of. It'll be a great time. And he wants to do this as a wedding gift to you guys. You know, he really cares and loves me. And he knows that you guys are important to me. So he really wants to do this. I'm like, okay, bet. Like, I ain't gonna say no to that, right? Now, Maisie spent money like it was Monopoly money. The woman was getting DoorDash, really expensive alcohol delivered. She was always shopping, getting designer goods. And then her mom ended up coming into town a couple days before we were gonna go to Vegas because her mom was traveling for work and came back in from Greece and was gonna stop in the United States to see her daughter and to see Takis. So I see her mother and her mom, you know, she has money and obviously gave Maisie whatever she wanted, but the woman wasn't screaming designer goods and millionaire status. So I was like, what's going on here? And I asked Takis, I'm like, is Maisie's income really just from her mother? Because her mom seems like a little bit frugal. And Takis was like, no, her mom does give her money, but like, keep it on the DL actually. Maisie is not just the girlfriend of that Hollywood actor. She's basically in an arrangement with him and he pays her $25,000 to hang out and vibe with him a month. I'm like, in my brain, I'm trying to do the calculations and the mental math. And again, we know that your girl is not good at math. And I'm like, holy crap. Wow. Okay. Cut to 2 days before the weekend starts. And Maisie's like, okay, we're going to get old Hollywood actors private jet this weekend. So we're going to Vegas this weekend and you guys are getting hitched. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't even mentally prepared for the fact that I'm going to be this young bride to this man that I'm deeply in love with, that I've only known for 3 weeks, that I barely even know his history, but I am just going with the flow because I have never experienced such fast love before, such a quick pace and intense lifestyle. And if you know anything about the Greeks, they be out here romancing y'all, you know? Just felt so loved and taken care of in that situation. I was just going with the flow. The weekend comes, we go to Burbank Airport. I had never flown private in LA at that time. I hadn't been living in LA for very long, so I'd never taken a private plane from Burbank Airport. Y'all, it is literally the best experience. You drive up to the tarmac, you walk in, you don't even need to give the guys your ID, because if whoever the owner of the plane owns the plane versus is someone that's renting it, you just walk up and they just usher you onto the plane. We walk up, they're like, hi, your old Hollywood actors party, welcome. It was me, Maisie, Takis, and then their other really good friend, we're gonna call him Yorgos. And Yorgos was also Greek and he was basically going to be the best man and Maisie was gonna be the best woman because we did have to have a best man and best woman as witnesses whenever you get married. We get onto the plane. It is the nicest plane I've ever been on. They have your private flight attendant, the pilot greets you, they give you the menu, they let you know what you have. I mean, you can eat and drink anything you want, and we are just literally chilling. And I'm sitting up there, and there is the old Hollywood actor's initials etched, last name initial etched into every single seat on there. We sit down, I take my shoes off and I put my feet on the ground, and I feel something under my feet. Like, what is that? I look down, and there's like a little baggie, like a tiny little round bag of substance. And I'm like, what the hell is that? I pick it up, I'm looking at it. I'm like, what is this? And Maisie goes, oh my God. And she grabs it and she goes, I know what this is. Looks like he accidentally left a little party favor on here. He. And she puts it in her bag. I'm like, girl! She bags it. I'm like, okay, this man really is everything they say he is in Hollywood. We go to Vegas. It's like a 30, if that, minute flight, 45-minute flight to get there. So we arrive. There's a black car waiting to pick us up. We hop into the car, they're waiting for Maisie and us. Old Hollywood actor had everything set up for her. The black car takes us straight up to the Wynn and we get ushered up to one of the suites. I have a very horrible blurry photo of the suites that I am going to show you guys. So we're like, okay, we're gonna get dressed, we're gonna go have some dinner, we're gonna go gamble a little bit, and then we're probably gonna go clubbing, and then the next day, we're gonna go and put a ring on it. We get dressed in our little club outfits, grab dinner at a really nice steakhouse that was over there. I think it was at Cosmo that we went to. And then afterwards, we went and gambled at Cosmo. Now, the Greeks that I'm with, they love to play roulette. I had never played roulette. Roulette basically is that you bet on certain numbers. If the ball lands on the number, then you get whatever the chip that you put down multiplied. And it has the worst odds of winning in any casino game, but it has the most profit that you can get. So we're playing, having a great time. They've just got money to blow. Maisie is like, oh yeah, old Hollywood actor had all these extra chips that he gave me that he had in store reserve or whatever in Vegas. And so this is basically like free money that we can play with. And I'm like, okay. And so she hands me a $1,000 chip. And she's like, if you want, you can break it up, or you can put all of it on one number. You could put one all on black or one all on red. I'm like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Like, what should I do? So I decide that I am going to put all of it on my lucky number, which is 17. So y'all, with roulette, the payout if you do it on one number, which is the highest risk but highest reward, is a 35-to-1 payout. If it hits on $1,000, you get $35,000. And I was like, this is not my money and I'm already here living, so why not try my luck? So when you're gambling, you also want to be tipping the person that's like your dealer really well, because they'll also kind of like want to help you. And so whenever we were winning and everything, little small amounts here and there, we were tipping them really well. And so they were wanting you to win, right? And we were just being fun and having a good time. The dealer looks at me and he's like, you really want to do all $1,000 chip on number 17? I said, yeah, I'm feeling lucky because you know what? I'm here getting married. I'm living my life. I'm with my best friends and the love of my life. Like, let's go. And he was like, if you win, what are you going to do with that money? I was like, well, probably go shopping, maybe get a good table at the club. Like, we'll see, right? The ball goes around. We're like watching. I am very optimistic. I'm thinking like, no matter what happens, happens. So the ball starts clinking around. It's like going from number to number to number. Everyone's like watching. Everybody knows that I have done this crazy, insane, risky bet on there. What did it land on? 17! Yes, I won $35,000 in that one session. Insane, right? We were losing our minds. We were freaking out. We were so happy. So what did we do? We went out to the nicest club. I don't even remember what club it was at the time. We got a really nice table. We got bottle service. We already had like money from Maisie's man. We also knew that I wanted to go get some nice shoes and go shopping the next day because it was money earned and money well spent by me. Would I do this now? I don't know. I took the risk and it was a really fun reward. I was wearing a black off-the-shoulder tight bodycon dress that had like one sleeve, and Maisie was wearing one of my Hervé Leger bodycon dresses. It was like purple and white and it was super tight. And we go to the club and afterwards we're all happy and buzzing, and Takis just looks at me and he goes, I think we should go get married right now. And I said, if we're gonna get married right now, the only place I wanna get married is where Britney Spears got married, and that is the Little White Chapel. So we're like, okay, we're gonna roll up to a Little White Wedding Chapel, and if they have room and time to marry us, it's clearly a sign that we should be doing it there, and we're gonna do it there. So we roll up in our club dresses. It's like 1 a.m., I don't know, it's freaking late. We roll up and the man is there, and we're like, can we get married today? And he looks at what we're wearing. We're standing among like actual people in wedding gowns. There was like 3 other couples there in head to toe wedding garb. And he's like, yeah, I've got 3 other people in front of you, but can you wait? We're like, yeah. We're waiting, just kind of like laughing and chatting. Finally, it's our turn. In the pews, Maisie and Yorgos are sitting. Am I supposed to walk down the aisle? I don't have flowers. I'm in a freaking black dress. That's a club dress. I'm not really sure what the protocol is here. The lady that works at the front, she's like, okay, yeah, you can like walk down if you want, or you can just already be sitting up there with him. I'm like, I'm gonna walk. You know what? It's fine. Like, oh, but I don't have a veil or anything. I mean, I just look like I left the club because I did. And one of the brides who had just gotten married, she's like, you can wear my veil. I'm like, wait, for reals, girl? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, hell yeah. So I put on her little veil. She gives me her flowers. They were white lilies. And I walk down and Takis is standing there smiling at me. And it is, 1, terrifying because I realized the gravity of the situation. And 2, also hilarious because I was 3 sheets to the wind and just going with the flow. The priest starts saying the vows. He's looking at me and he's just staring at me because clearly I am wearing inappropriate attire for being in the Little White Chapel. And he's just staring at my legs and just kind of looking at me grossly. He's saying the vows. Gets to the part where he's supposed to say, till death do you part. But he's looking at me and he goes, till sex, death do you part. And we all just start busting out laughing. And Maisie goes, well, I see what's on your mind, dude. That was a very big moment in memory for us because it really added levity to the situation. And I wasn't thinking that it was very serious that I was getting married at 21 and hadn't told my parents or my family or friends. And I just run out to Vegas with this man that I had only known for 3 weeks. The limo pulls up, get in, we're like laughing, and The limo driver's like, where do you want to go? And we all look at each other and we're like, let's go to this infamous exotic dancing club. The most infamous one there, which I'm sure you can guess which it is. Yes, we're going to celebrate because we just got married. We're going there. And he's like, all right, bet, let's do it. He starts driving to take us off. We're drinking champagne in the back of the limo, we're buzzing, and I will never forget the most sobering thought I had in that moment in the back of that limo. I was just like, I've changed my entire life. But you know what? I love this man, I'm in love, and like, let's go. At the after party, we go to this famous gentleman's club, and it is the most popping club that you've ever been to. It is huge. The women are absolutely stunning. There are these like big lights and stages. I'm sure you can figure out from these descriptions, and it is a very big celebrity hotspot whenever they're in Vegas. We go there, obviously we roll up in the stretch Hummer limo. We roll out, they are waiting for us. We walk in and Maisie's like, yeah, I already called before and we're supposed to have a table. And they're like, oh yeah, actually your celebrity daddy called before and got his table. Yes, this man had his own table there reserved for you. And we're like, great. It is the table that is at the top of the stage that you can see the entire round room of the club. So we're like, okay, let's roll up. We walk in feeling really good. We've just gotten married. We think that we have ignorant bliss that can only be found when you're young and dumb and you just married someone that you've only known for 3 weeks. Music is pumping. We're busting a move to some 50 Cent or, you know, Neo or whoever was hot at the time. Just having a great time. We're popping that champagne. We're vibing. At one point, me and Maisie are standing up and we're dancing. And apparently it is very frowned upon when you are dancing at a gentleman's club when you are a lady because it takes the attention off of the working ladies. And I didn't know this and neither did Maisie. We're dancing, you know, semi-provocatively. I had just gotten married, dancing on my husband. It's a good time. And one of the security guys is like, hey, you guys can't dance like that in here. And we're like, I'm sorry, what? And Maisie's like, I'm sorry, but you don't know who I am because my celebrity daddy is this man. And they're like, oh, okay, carry on, right? So we're like, cool, cool, cool. I'm dancing, and now, not to toot my own horn, but I was raised in the teen dance club, so your girl knows how to bust a move and get ratchet. You know what I'm saying? There was another table next to us with these looked like mobster looking Armenian dudes. And they're fucking vibing. The one head honcho guy was wearing, no joke, a purple velour suit. You could imagine. He's got this girl working for that money on him. You know what I'm saying? She is throwing it back. I'm like, yes, queen. He's watching me dance and smiling at me while this girl is shaking what her mama gave her and working for that money. And I'm like, boy, why are you looking at me? Like me, I'm like, whatever. So maybe like 10, 15 minutes later, Maisie and I are like, we gotta go pee. So we start running towards the bathroom and that Armenian gangster man grabs my arm as I'm running by. He literally shoves this poor working girl off his lap and he was like, hey, beautiful, how much for a dance? And I was like, sir, I do not work here. I am a patron just like you. Get your hands off of me. And he's like, I know you don't work here, but I'll give you 10 grand if you dance on me right now. And I'm like, I am not a working girl here, sir. Get off of me. And he starts laughing or whatever. And then me and Maisie trollop our little asses to the bathroom, which also doubles as a locker room for the working girls. So we're in there and there's like some of the working girls in there or whatever. We're fixing ourselves up. It is a flurry of feathers, glitter, and hairspray. We're touching up our makeup. We're kind of chatting. And the door swings open, Friday the 13th style. And I see this dancer walk in. She just like comes straight towards me, eyes blazing. And she's like, hey, bitch, what are you trying to do? Why are you trying to mess with my money? I'm like, she's talking to me? I know she's not talking to me like that. Coming in real hot. She's like, yeah, you just cost me a couple $100. And I'm like, I think you've got the wrong girl here. I know that there's a lot of like cute girls in here, but like, I'm not the one. And she's like, yeah, I was dancing on Velour Daddy. And he shoved me off and wanted to get a dance from you. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, sorry, babe. That man is clearly a weirdo. And I told him that I don't work here. And she's like, you trying to mess with my money? I'm like, no. She's like, you know you're not supposed to be dancing in here. I'm like, okay, well, they said it was okay because do you know who her celebrity daddy is? And she's like, I don't care. I'm like, all right, girl, you need to relax because I ain't trying to do this with you right now. I turn, look in the mirror to go back to doing what I'm doing. And this girl pushes me from the back. Like this. Boop. I'm like, oh, hell no. And before I can even figure out what's going on, Maisie had snatched her by the hair, yelling at her in the face because we know Maisie is from the gangster rich streets of Greece, y'all, and she don't give a fuck. I jump in there and I'm grabbing her as well, and it becomes this whole mess of entanglement of floral perfumes, sticky ass lip gloss, and high ass heels. Managed to not get hurt, thank God. And the bouncer runs in. He's like, what's going on? He starts like pulling everyone off. He's like, dancers can't fight, dancers can't fight. She's yelling like about me. She's like, she hit me, da 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 da. Girl, you hit me first. Bouncer's like, you can't hit the dancers or I'm immediately gonna be booted out. This is a different bouncer, by the way, than the other guy. Macy's like, oh, we'll see about that. I'm like, yeah, my sugar mama right here. She's gonna handle you. We walk out. They're dragging us back to the table. The man sees what table we're at. Takis and Yorgos are both like, what is happening? The bouncer starts yelling with Takis and Maisie. They're going back and forth. I'm just kind of sitting there drinking my champagne again, just like, boop-be-doo. It's okay, my Greek mafia will take care of this. Turns out that we didn't get kicked out because the power that old Maisie's celebrity daddy holds is quite top tier. Apparently this man was spending hundreds of thousands of dollars at this club a month. We're chilling, but I want to say we probably only stayed for maybe like another hour before we left. It was like 6 in the morning, y'all. I'm 21, so I am fueled by youth and adrenaline, and I have not yet discovered the pains of getting older and your back not working and grandfather time being against your side. We end up going to a late night spot, diner or something, and we're eating pancakes and burgers and fries and just laughing about the situation. We get back to our suite at the Wynn, which I forgot to add a photo that I had in the last video, so here it is. Now this is Maisie and Yorgos in the living room of our big ass suite. And this is Maisie and me jumping on the couch in the big ass suite. And we end up just sitting next to the window as the sun came up, drinking more champagne and reminiscing about the next steps. And Takis just looked at me and he was just like, I feel so lucky to have found you. You're the love of my life. I can't believe that not only do I get to spend the rest of my life with you, but I get to stay with you in the city I love, and I couldn't be happier. I am going to make sure that you have the best life ever, that you are the happiest girl ever, and I'm gonna take care of you. This marriage is the reason that I believe strictly in the 3-month rule on when people show you who they really are, because this did not last very long. Can't wait for the haters in my comment section that are like, oh my God, she's lying again. Nobody's life is that interesting. Look, for those people, I am so sorry that your life is so uncolored, uninteresting, and unvibrant that you have to come and criticize my life and my real life stories and my actual validated existence. However, I will say that you don't have to be on my channel. All my stories are 100% real. If you don't believe me, I really don't care, because my stories then aren't for you. You can change the channel, and I'm sure that there is some tech bro explaining Bitcoin on the internet that you can watch. Now on to the story for all my beautiful and wonderful followers that my stories are for. I love you. Thanks for being here. This is a good one. We have arrived back in LA, and Takis has basically moved in with me. We were spending most of our time at my place, but we were still going out with the Greek fam and the crew. And we decide when we're back that we want to go out with the girls, gays, theys, and Greeks to celebrate our marriage and our wonderful nuptials and our new life together. So we go out for a cute night, and Takis brings along a lot of friends that I actually hadn't met. So it's me, his cousin Maisie, Yorgos, the Greek guy that was also the best man, a bunch of my gays, and then there was in particular this one girl. Her name is Cassie. You know that I usually like to protect the identities of people by using fake names, but this girl deserves to be called out. We'll see later why she deserves to be called out by her first name. We go out for a regular day in WeHo. We go out to the Abbey, and then we are going to a couple other gay bars in the area. One of the bars was a bar that used to be around called Rage, if you guys remember it. It was a fun, colorful gay bar in West Hollywood. It was very popular and poppin'. They played some really good ratchet-ass music, and we were standing in line there. Now, Cassie was underage. She was 20 years old and not much younger than me, but she was not legal to go into the bars. So we were walking into all of the bars, and Takis kept asking me to pass her back my ID because she looked like she could similarly be me, I guess. I don't know. She was like another mixed brown girl with dark hair. And so I would have to go through, pass my ID back to her, and she would come through. He would talk about her like she was he and Maisie's little sister. They were really close with her, and Maisie especially was close with her because, surprise, surprise, Cassie was also in the young girlfriend category of work. But from the get-go, I could tell that Cassie was a little bit hesitant of me, and I had this inkling feeling, we should always, always, always trust our gut, that it was because she had some sort of crush on Takis, or there was something that had gone on with them. And we're all dancing and stuff, and she was wearing this super tight white bodycon dress. She looked like she maybe bought it 2 sizes too small. You know what, girl? Do what you gotta do. And it was so tight, she wasn't wearing a bra, and it was basically see-through. And you could see all the things that God gave her. And we're on the dance floor dancing, and at one point, she's like laughing with Takis, like, I'm pushing him. And he reaches over, and I swear to God, I see him pinch her right there. And I'm like, did my eyes deceive me? Am I temporarily blind? Is the haze of the gay bar causing me temporary blindness or hallucinations? But I just kind of look at him and I go over, and we've only been together for a month, right? But we are married. So I go over, I'm kind of dancing with them, and he looks over at me, and I was like, okay, I think that I had my eyes blinded for a second. Did I just see you pinch her nips? And he starts laughing, and he goes, yeah, babe. He's like, because they're just so on display, look. And then he did it again. First red flag. I'm like, sir, I am your wife, and why are you pinching another girl's ant bites right next to me while I'm standing here? Also, a girl that you are calling your little sister. Okay, red flag number one. Like, what? They're just nipples. I'm like, sir, I don't know what y'all do in Greece, but this definitely is not the way that we do things here. And I have a lot of Greek girlfriends, and they confirm that that is also not what they do in Greece. So I was like, okay, please don't do that again. And he's like, whatever. They go and get shots, and one of my very good gay friends, we're going to call him Shane, he and I start living it up on the dance floor, right? And he ends up accidentally spilling his cranberry vodka onto Cassie. And I will admit that there was the villain part of me that felt a little bit vindicated because she had been flirting with my man all night. She's pissed, and she's like yelling at Shane, like, oh my God, like, how could you not see me there, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, girl, I'm sorry. So Maisie takes her to the bathroom, and me and Shane are there, and we're like, we're hungry. And Taki says, like, okay, where do you want to go? And there is a RIP Kitchen 24. It was a spot on Santa Monica Boulevard that had late night eats, and I loved their burger there. So we're like, okay, yeah, let's go to Kitchen 24. We'll gather the girls up and we'll go. We're waiting. These girls are taking forever. And so me and Shane are like, okay, well, we're really hungry and we want to go ahead. And so Taki is like, okay, you guys go ahead. I will wait for the girlies. I'm like, okay, me, Yorgos, and my gays, we all go to Kitchen 24. We're ordering food, we're sitting and laughing, and in walks Takis, Maisie, and stained dress Cassie. And they're walking in, and Cassie looks visibly upset. Like she is staring daggers at Shane. But they walk over, they order food, we're all kind of sitting there laughing and chatting, and we're in a booth, right? And in the booth, the way it's set is I'm sitting in the middle, on the right of me is Shane, on the left of me is Takis, in front of me is Cassie, and then everyone else around. We're eating and stuff, and we're all tipsy, obviously, and Cassie is blowing into her drink. She's drinking a water. She's blowing into it with her straw, and it's like getting everywhere. And she's like laughing, like, her and Maisie are laughing. And I'm just like, what is this bitch doing? So, but I'm talking to Shane, and we're just kind of like laughing about things, and then suddenly a piece of ice goes flying across and hits Shane in the face. What the hell? And we look over, and Maisie and old Cassie are giggling and have their heads down. And Shane's like, hey bitch, did you just throw a piece of ice at me? And she's like, no. And he's like, whatever. So we're chatting again, eating our fries. I am so hungry, y'all. Another piece of ice comes flying. It hits me now. And I look over, I'm like, okay, who the hell is throwing ice? And Maisie and Cassie are laughing. I'm like, y'all need to stop. This is not the time and place for this. And Cassie's like, who are you to tell me what to do? Bitch, don't get attitude with me, girlfriend. You need to relax, okay? I was like, we're trying to have a conversation, so quit with your freaking ice. I know that you're a child, but you need to relax. So I turn back over. Another piece of ice flies over, and it hits Shane in the face. And we both turn, and Shane starts yelling at her. He's like, bitch, he was like, I will jump across this table and I will take that cup of water out of your hand. You need to stop right now. And she goes, yeah, well, at least it's not a red drink, you clumsy fuck. And then they start going off of it. And then in a loud voice for all of WeHo to hear, she just goes, oh yeah? Well, fuck you. And drops the F-bomb. Oh yes, that F-bomb. Y'all, I have never jumped across a table so quick in my life. I dove across the table and I snatched her by the head. I just start using my left hand as God and my Filipino mother intended. And she is just getting wrecked. And she ends up pushing me down. The bouncer comes over and kicks us both out. We're all outside trying to get our druthers together while the boys are paying. People are trying to keep me and her apart. She's still yelling at me and Shane. And I was like, first of all, girl, I need to apologize to him because I cannot believe that you would use that slur in his own city, no less. This is WeHo. This is his capital, girl. You're the one that doesn't belong here. I've kind of calmed down and I'm just like sitting there while she's trying to get at me and people are holding her apart. And finally Takis comes out and he's like, you need to relax to her. And she's just like, and she goes, yeah, well, screw you and your little paid mail order bride. Y'all, again, I see red and I just lunge at her. Everyone is trying to keep us apart. I'm like, screw you, girl. You don't know what you're talking about. We're together for real. And she's like, oh, don't you see that he's just using you? You don't see that? You don't see that? They keep us apart. And finally, I go sit down on the sidewalk next to the bouncer and Yorgos. I'm trying to relax. And Shane is like over there like, thank you, queen. And all the gays are like, screw that girl. You know, everyone was like yelling at her. Maisie had gone around to go get the Mercedes. She brings it around and they're trying to shovel this girl into the car, right? They shovel her in. Maisie just looks at Takis and she goes, all right, are you coming? And I'm looking at him on the ground like, yeah, are you going with them or are you coming home with me, your wife? Maisie like looks at Takis and she's like, come on, we gotta go. And he looks at me and I was just like, look, you wanna go with them, go with them. But just know that tells me a lot about where your priorities are. What does he do, y'all? He gets in the damn car and he drives off. I'm super upset now because I've just had an emotional wrestling match with this frickin' girl. Shane is like, come on, girl, I'll take you home. So he takes me home. We get to my place, and the place that I was living in at the time was this really cute little bungalow. The way that it was set up was the walkway that led up into this cute little garden courtyard, and then my little bungalow, they were all standalone places, was in the very far corner. So when you're rounding the corner, you can't really see the front of my door, so you can't see if someone's standing there. We walk up, we're kind of chatting, we round the corner, and I see someone standing and lurking in my doorway. I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? It's Takis. He's standing there. Shane's like, okay, girl, you're in good hands. Love you, blah, 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 blah. He leaves. I look at Takis. I'm like, hey, what are you doing here? And he's like, look, I'm really sorry. I realized that I should have gone with you in the first place. I was a little worried because I thought that Maisie might be intoxicated and couldn't drive. So that's why I wanted to just make sure that they got home. And then I came here as soon as I could. And I was like, okay. And at the time, you know, y'all, I believed him. I was just like, okay, that's totally fine. We go in the house and I'm like, I can't believe that Cassie girl said that to Shane. And I can't believe she was like all trying to say that I'm this compensated bride. Like, you didn't stick up for me. He was like, I was just trying to wrangle the situation. I was just trying to make sure that nobody was actually getting hurt. I'm like, right, but you should have stuck up for me. Is that true? Like, is that how you see me? Is that why you started dating me? And he was like, of course not. I fell in love with you. He's like, I didn't even want you to do this situation with me. I wanted to do this as a business transaction with somebody else because my relationship with you is real, 100%. So we go to bed, and in the middle of the night, at like 4 a.m, we hear a knock on the door. We go out, we open the door, and it's Yorgos. And Yorgos is like, hey, I'm really sorry that we're here like this, but Maisie is on one. We look behind and Maisie looks like she has been on a bender for 3 weeks, even though we just saw her like 3 hours ago. Her eyes are crazy and she's clearly on something. And she just looked at Takis and she's like, I don't want you in my house anymore. I can't believe that you would leave when we needed you. You chose the bed that you want. You want to choose her over us. You can stay here and you're completely cut off from me. And he's like, what? Now, keep in mind, right? This is translated to me after the fact because she is yelling at him in Greek. So anytime that they wanted to talk about something that I didn't hear about or I didn't know, they would speak in Greek since I didn't understand it. So she's yelling at him in Greek. So I'm just sitting there looking like, what is happening? And Yorgos is looking at me like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm the messenger. And she's screaming, screaming, screaming. And Takis, who is a rapid firecracker, is just standing there taking it. And she ends up leaving, storming off, and I don't even know what's going on until he explains it to me after. What I didn't realize at the time was that Maisie's life was funding the life that her and Takis had. Now, Takis had had money before, but I didn't realize where it went, which we will get into the backstory, because then he looks at me and he says, I can't go back to Maisie's. I'm gonna have to stay here with you. Are you and I gonna be okay? Because now it's just gonna be you and I, and Maisie's gonna be out of the picture. And I was like, okay. And he was very vulnerable. And he's looking at me like, we're going to be okay, right? Like, it's just going to be you and I. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I didn't know what that meant, right? I didn't know that this man was sharing a bank account with his cousin Maisie. I didn't realize that he didn't actually have any more money of his own. The next morning we woke up, I made us some scrambled eggs and some Aperol spritzes, and we got into all the nitty-gritty details of where this man had come and what made him the way that he was and what was going on with his ass now. Takis grew up in Thessaloniki, Greece, a little bit lesser known than like Athens and stuff, but there's really, really popular nightlife there. He grew up in a high-rise with his mother, father, his grandfather, and his older brother. His father left when he was younger, but he was very, very abusive. He grew up basically with just his grandfather, his mother, and his older brother. And his mother was also a little bit in and out. She was a pretty successful businesswoman, but he definitely felt a little bit isolated when he was growing up because his grandfather was old. His older brother was out doing partying and stuff like that. So then Takis ended up started working at his local bar when he was 12 years old. Because in Greece, things are obviously done a little bit differently, and if you can see over the bar, they will hire you. So he starts working there as a busboy, doing little odd things around the restaurants and the bars, and eventually he moves his way up through his teenage years from runner, busboy, barback, bartender, to assistant manager, to general manager, to basically being the right hand to all the owners for the bars that he was working at. Now, obviously in nightlife, you become like Mr. Guy, you're popular, you're getting the ladies, you're meeting people. So he ended up dating a Serbian Greek woman, let's call her Katie. Katie came from a bit of a colored background from Serbian gangsters, and her family was in Serbia and she was in Greece, basically trying to start a new life for herself, and started dating Takis. As Takis is working in the nightlife, he becomes friends with all sorts of different people, and he ends up getting introduced to a security officer who we will call Mickey. Mickey was a huge dude, super tatted up, very, very buff, giving like Vin Diesel or The Rock vibes. Also being hired as private security for different companies as well, because he was ex-Greek military and could like fuck a bitch up. So they become best friends. They start talking about how they can do some business together. Mickey ends up introducing Takis to a very, very successful Greek businessman who we're going to call Leo. And Leo was not just a businessman, he was also a unofficial lender, if you catch my drift. Now, Greece is different, right? If you don't pay back this unofficial bank, they unofficially will unassemble your bones. So Takis starts working with Mickey and this Greek businessman, Leo. And at first, Takis is kind of doing odd things with him, basically introducing him to other clients that he met through the bar industry and just making connections, kind of being like the network guy. And Takis is like, you know what? I really want to have my own restaurant and bar. I really want to open something up. He starts kind of like floating the idea to Leo. And Leo's like, okay, you know what? I will fund this restaurant venture for you if you do some unofficial business for me. Takis ends up quitting his regular bar job because he sees the potential to make buku money, and he decides to just work solely and specifically for Leo. Gains Leo's trust, they become very close, and he becomes Leo's right-hand man in all business dealings. And Mickey is working as the muscle. So we've got Takis, who is the brains and the business of the operation, who is handling things on the daily for Leo. And then we've got old Mickey, who's working as the brawn, who is accompanying him in order to collect the findings of these unofficial lending business deals that they're doing. So they're going around and they're being a little rough and tumble to the Greek community. This is going on, and Takis is living a really nice lifestyle. He buys some nice sports cars, he buys a nice Porsche, he buys his girlfriend Kate Louis Vuitton bags, he starts buying Hermes belts, Gucci shoes. Like, they are living the dream, and he is loving this new lifestyle that is not exactly going by the code of ethics or any Greek laws. But he is still living this life either way, because he thinks that he is going to get his dream restaurant, and he thinks that this is the way that he needs to do things. There's a reason that the Greek economy was crumbling, because there was a lot of corruption there. Takis is now in his early 20s, and he is getting deeper and deeper and deeper into this lifestyle and kind of losing himself in the process and doing things that he didn't really think that he was capable of doing, but is doing it because he likes the money. And now he has Kate, his girlfriend, who's also pressuring him for a really nice engagement ring. So he's like, okay, I got to figure out doing more jobs so that I can get money to buy this woman a big ass rock. As Takis is doing this, making more money, it is to be known that on any sort of agreements or paperwork that he was doing with anybody that they were doing any unofficial lending deals with, Takis was the one signing his name on all the documents. So Leo, he is the guy behind the brains of the operation. He is the one that's got the bucks that he is lending out. Takis is the one who's signing his name everywhere. I think you can see where this is going. Leo is really, really pushing Takis really hard and getting him to do a lot of more work. And Takis is doing this and finally buys his Serbian girlfriend a big ass emerald cut ring. She's happy they get engaged. They're figuring out what they're going to do with their lives together. And they think that they're going to start this family and this life in Thessaloniki. Cut to one day, he's doing business dealings as usual, going around town, doing the stuff. And Mickey calls him and is like, bro, I need you to meet me now at your apartment. Make sure you're not followed. I need to have a conversation with you, and make sure that nobody is there. Make sure your girlfriend's not there. We need to be completely alone. And Takis is like, okay, what's going on? They meet, And Mickey ends up telling him that it turns out that those that keep the Greek laws intact have been doing an investigation into Leo, and Leo is about to go down. Leo is about to lose his entire empire. And here's the thing. Leo had prepared for this because every single document had Taki's name on it, which Leo had set up by design. So Leo was going to go into hiding, but Leo wasn't going to be going down for everything Taki's was, because Taki's name and document and signature was all over everything. So Takis is obviously like, holy shit, what am I going to do? And so they decide that they're going to quickly hatch a plan. They plan that one day when Takis is doing one of his little lending deals, he's going to have $100,000 with him and Mickey and Mickey's girlfriend, who is Maisie. Remember Maisie? Yes, that Maisie. Mickey and Maisie are together. Maisie was already going to be leaving the country to go on some vacation, so she and Mickey are going to help Takis take a semi-permanent to permanent vacation from Greece with $100,000. Of whose money? Leo's money. Takis goes to his now fiance Katie, and he's like, look, here's the deal. This is what I have to do. You want to come with me or not? You can either stay here in Greece or you can come with me, but this is what I have to do. I gotta get the hell out of here. And she's like, all right, bet, son. Well, you already gave me this big ass rock. Like, I might as well follow you to the ends of the earth. Pack all their stuff. He realizes that he's not really sure where he can go. Katie is like, oh, don't worry. I got some interesting, questionable colored characters in Serbia, per my family. We can go stay with them. And then from there, we can make another plan and figure out where we're going to go. And he's like, all right, bet. So, can you bring a bunch of cash through airport security? No, you cannot. So what did they do? Well, we've all seen Wolf of Wall Street, where they basically DIY money belt that girl. Well, that's what they did. They DIY money body belted Taki's body. He put on a big ass jacket, and they went to the place where planes fly from. So apparently he was in line ready to go through the little beeper thing, and he was sweating balls. He was like, this is going to be either the best, riskiest decision I ever made, or this is going to ruin my life. He goes through, they do the little boop, 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 boop. Security guard looks at him, goes like, unbutton your jacket. Takis opens it up. The man sees what's going on down there. The man sees what his undergarments are made of, and he just goes, go through quickly. Yeah. Shady dealings over here. He goes through. They go safely to Serbia. They're there with Katie's family. They're figuring out a plan. He realizes that he can't stay there because of whatever laws and stuff, and he's also worried because now word has gotten out to Leo that he borrowed in a non-traditional way Leo's paper bills, y'all. So he's like, okay, not only have I left my home country, but I am also now heavily desired by this man who is very known for being a vicious Greek businessman. So he is like, okay, we got to figure out where we're going. So where do they decide to go? They decide that they're going to go to Egypt. They go to Egypt. They start a life there. Now, $100,000, it is a good amount of money to get in one lump sum. However, if you're spending it like nothing, that can go out quickly, especially if you're not working and you can't figure out something to do. Every single day, Katie is bitching at him, telling him like, you made me leave my home country, you made me leave my family, you made me leave all these people, and now I'm on the run with you, and so therefore you're gonna let me go shopping and I'm gonna spend all this money so that I can be happy. So he buys her a big ass house in Egypt. They get 2 big ass Rottweilers, they get some Porsches, they get a Range Rover, she gets all the shopping and everything that she wants. The money is running out, and also Takis is paying for security to make sure that nobody is coming after them. Takis is constantly just very aware of looking over his shoulder while also trying to make some lemonade out of lemons and figure out how he can make money and turn the rest of the money that he has with him into at least something. They now have 2 Rottweilers and this tiny little fluffy dog that Takis had gotten for his ex so that she could be happy. His ex ends up telling him that she wants to leave and she wants to go visit her mom in Greece because her mom is sick and not doing well. And Takis is like, I don't think that's a good idea because I think that people are probably keeping tabs on you, so I don't think it's a good idea. And she says, you know what, I'm leaving either way, whether you like it or not, I am going to go. And he's like, okay. And she's like, don't worry, I'll be back. She leaves. She goes back to Greece. She phones him up and she's like, yo, I ain't coming back. You're on your own, brother. I'm not coming back. I'm not living this life with you. Also, can you ship my dog to me? And he's like, what? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to take the ring. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to try to figure out my life here. And he's like, look, I don't think that you are going to be okay there. Like, I'm worried that you're there and Leo is out and about. Now, while this is happening, it turns out that Leo ends up getting picked up. by the popos. He's actually in holding, but obviously he has people that work for him that are also scrounging around. But she's like, I don't care, I'm staying here and you're on your own. So now we've got Takis in Egypt, a country where he knows nobody except for the random people that he meets. His fiance has now left him, and he's got 2 Rottweilers, a whole ass house, cars, and a whole life in Egypt, and nothing to show for it. He doesn't know what he's going to do. Cut to Maisie. Remember Maisie, his cousin? Maisie was in a relationship with Mickey, Taki's bestie and former muscle man. He's talking to Mickey, and Mickey's like, look, Maisie is actually in Los Angeles. You should see if you can go over there, because now Takis has found out word that some of Leo's people might know that he's in Egypt. So Takis is like, well, there's no reason for me to stay here because my lady left and I don't even want to be here anyways. And I feel unsafe, so I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And Mickey's like, all right, I think you should go to LA. I think you should meet up with Maisie. Then Takis drops this information on me. Maisie is not actually his cousin. Maisie was Mickey's girlfriend. That is how he met Maisie. But they started telling everyone that they were cousins because it was easier to explain to people why these like 2 straight platonic people were living together and taking care of each other. And it just made things easier for documents and things like that. So now I find out they're not even blood related. Taki sells all of his worldly possessions that he has in Egypt. He buys a one-way plane ticket to Los Angeles, and he gets his ass there, which is where he meets up with Maisie, and they end up starting a cousin platonic friendship family cohabitating life together. This was about a year before I ended up meeting them. So for a year they were spending cash, like they had a lot to spend. Takis ended up taking care of Maisie financially as well, letting her buy whatever she wanted, and he was sad, so they were partying a lot, they were traveling, they were spending a lot of money, until one day that money just kind of ran out, and Maisie decided that she needed to make money more than just what her mother was giving her. So she ends up meeting some girls at a club one night. They end up introducing her to the lifestyle of being a young girlfriend for old Hollywood daddies, and they end up deciding that maybe Takis does want to open a restaurant. So their plan was that Maisie was going to work, try to get as much money as possible through her young girlfriend life, and then they were going to open up a restaurant in LA together. But then he keeps having to renew his visa. His visa ends up getting denied, and now they need to figure out how he can stay in the country. And then, thus, he met me.
I can't take another one, but it seems like for the first part of her story, I just never felt more poor in my life. Lord have mercy. That was a good one, though. I ain't gonna lie. That was a real good story. Very captivating. She told a lot of details. And it was like, I could see this in a movie. Like, from her meeting the guy and getting married, then going back to how he even got to America. It is like a whole movie. Like, crazy good story time telling about Big Kitty energy. But it reminded me of one gorgeous doll who has a lot of story times, because she also has a lot of story times, lived a overly extravagant life, something that us country folk won't know too much about. But man, this really took up a lot of time. I didn't think I was gonna make it this long, but that's crazy. And then from reading the comments, they think that the rich daddy is Jack Nicholson, which makes a lot of sense, seeing that, you know, Jack Nicholson is the party guy. He private jet with the initials on it, because I googled it. What else did he have? The Vegas frequents Vegas. Oh man, like, and can afford that type of lifestyle. Like, Jack Nicholson lives a hell of a life. I don't know what kind of investments he has, but he's like 88 years old, or he's in his 80s. But he to do everything he's done, and he's lived a life, and so everybody's saying in the comments it makes sense that it was Jack Nicholson. So, and that's crazy, but hey, listen. I want to just chalk this up to being young and having fun and taking a chance. You don't know who you love. She just didn't know that. That guy was this guy that she was marrying, but he lied to her And I'm pretty sure if she goes into like other stuff of how they got divorced and stuff, and I really want to get into it, but I really got other stuff to do. Um, I believe that that guy was probably at some point. I don't think he might not have been abusive, but the stress of everything that was coming, that he lost all of his income, especially by falling out with Mozzie, and he never got his restaurant off the ground or whatever. I think the stresses of that really took a toll on why he couldn't fulfill what he was doing. But, him being young at 26, and she thought that he had his stuff together, really he was just an immature person. He didn't have anything together. He may have worked his way up in Greece, but he really didn't know how to do it on his own. So, living on his own, and when you have money, life is just different. When I was young and I was like really seeing like thousands of dollars at one time, I'd be thinking back like, man, damn, I just sat there and wasted money thinking that it was just gonna keep coming. And then what I didn't do was make any smart investments. I didn't save any or anything. So now I'm a little bit older and understand I've messed up a few bags in life, that now I understand where investments come in, savings come in, where stuff like that. And so what he did, what Takis did, he basically, him being young, it stressed him out and he shut down and he didn't know how to recover. And so but he did that several times, like when he was making the money with the Leo guy off in Greece. He thought the money was gonna keep coming. Then when the money stopped, he just, he made a bunch of impulse decisions that ultimately landed him broken in LA. But also letting that girl leave, he bought her that ring, everything. He probably knew that she wasn't gonna be with him, but it just, you young and dumb. And he probably sent to that dog too. That was stupid. I wouldn't have sent to that dog. But like, he was in love with that girl. That was the one he probably wanted to marry. But she only wanted to be with him because he was bringing in the cash. And unfortunately, that's what it is with a lot of women, especially you go from Greece to LA. Now I've seen some pretty wealthy people in Greece, but Greece had a whole fallout before I started going there. Like the Greece dollar, like they bankrupt the country. So on the rebuild of Greece, like the country wasn't broke. Yeah, the country was broke. It was like it was ghetto. But there was still people that, had it, but they had moved all their money out to Greece banks. So that's another fall of the bank of Greece. Is like once everybody moved their money out the bank, Greece had nothing. They had nothing. So they had no money to loan to make more money, and they just fell off. So, but when I was down there, yeah, I seen some rich ass people, and hey, when you see that lifestyle, you be like, damn, man. I be seeing some people's lifestyle. This is one person I know. I be looking at them like, golly, man. But I know they worked hard, but now they don't work as hard, and they just chill, and they watch their money grow. I be like, damn, But see, that take a lot of discipline to put all your money into that, to get it like that. And Takis being young and having that much money and not really having to work for it didn't teach him the work ethic to keep it going. And that's why he lost it all. And that's why as soon as Mozzie left, like if he would have been taking money from Mozzie and just putting it back, he could have had that restaurant. But he wasn't taking it back. He was spending it. He was looking good, trying to look the part. You know, that's all he did. He looked the part, but he wasn't shit. And if he would have just been taking that money and just, you know, putting it back, if he would have had that restaurant back, if she's probably 35, maybe. So if this was maybe 15 years ago, bro, maybe $40,000-$50,000 in LA would have got you a restaurant. Nowadays, not so much, but back then, it definitely would have got you a restaurant. And he messed that up.